welcome to Flix Anonymous on CKNW.com, an original CKNW podcast. I'm Steve Stebbing.
And I'm hanging out with you, my buddy. And I'm Trevor Dewick.
Yes, you are. That's your name.
Sometimes.
I
want a cooler name. I used to want to change my name when I was a kid.
What were you going to change your name to?
I don't know. I think it was my mom. Taser Face.
Taser Face.
Yeah.
You will be known as Taser Face.
Yeah, my mom said...
It's a metaphor.
Well, my mom said I wanted to change my name to, like, Jason or something like that.
I was originally supposed to be named Kelly.
Kelly?
Yeah, like a guy Kelly. I dodged a bullet, I think.
I don't know. You kind of look like a Kelly.
Do I look like a Kelly?
Yeah,
Kelly's Heroes. It's like that Clint Eastwood movie. I think it was Kelly's Heroes. It was a World War II movie with Clint Eastwood.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Now you're just Steeple Dead.
The Steeple Dead. That is me. That is I. This is episode 29.
Wow, we're almost at 30.
Yes. 30 of being on CKNW. See, I would like the listeners to know that we did have this show going before we joined CKNW.
On another
platform. And we had 40 something up. We got to be creeping near 100 episodes at some point. Like in actuality.
They say once you hit 30, it's all downhill from there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I can agree. I can contest.
Yeah, it all goes downhill. So the next episode's going to be terrible. No, next episode's 30. This is episode 29.
Yeah.
So next episode will be like the blowout Dirty 30.
Yeah.
And then we'll have nothing left. We'll just be done. We'll be on the verge of cancellation.
Don't tell Tom Cruise, though, that it's all over after you turn 30, because, man, that guy is ripped. Still really good shape.
Right? He's 50, 55, 56,
yeah,
roughly around there. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. The Mummy is out this week.
It is.
And this is Universal Pictures trying to get their own inclusive cinematic universe going, the Dark Universe, by setting the Mummy up as their booting up of this whole enterprise. And this is Tom Cruise leading it. You have Sofia Boutella, who dons makeup again to play the Mummy in this film. Annabelle Wallis, Russell Crowe's in this film.
Yeah, surprising.
Jake Johnson, Courtney B. Vance is in it for blink and you miss him moment, basically yelling military jargon the whole time.
Oh, that's right.
And it's so this is directed by Alex Kurtzman, who people may know. Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orcai wrote a bunch of stuff for J.J. Abrams. They did the original Star Trek and a few other things. Now he's kind of helming his own giant film. And with Tom Cruise attached to this one, you generally would think that this movie would be a lot of fun, just because even if it's going to be bad at all, it's at least fun when it comes to Tom Cruise. As he basically plays a treasure hunter that he's a military treasure hunter. He's employed by the military.
Yep.
And unearths a Egyptian tomb in the middle of Iraq, which is odd
because normally they can't find Egyptian stuff in
exactly
Iraq.
But it turns out a sarcophagus was buried under Iraq because they wanted to get this body as far out of Egypt as they could, through reasons because everyone's idiots. The mummy is brought back to life. And
it was really like a series of idiots.
Series of just being stupid.
Stupid events.
And then it's unleashed on London.
Yeah.
As she's kind of looking for another piece to her world domination, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we start? This movie is at a breakneck pace. Like, it's constantly moving. This movie.
It's constantly running.
Yeah, it is. It is really running. I mean, of course, Tom Cruise runs a bunch in this movie, but the pace is really quick. But for me, there's nothing really about this movie worked except for a couple key sequences. There's a plane falling out of the sky scene that I thought was really well done.
Yep.
And above that, I mean, you know that this film is going to be heavy on the CG. The CG actually really works in this movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
it wasn't noticeable.
Usually it's a bone of contention for us when we watch a movie. We're just like, oh, what was that? Oh, what was that?
Oh, yeah.
And coming a week after Wonder Woman, where we did have problems with the CG in that movie, I was expecting just horrible problems with this one, but it seems like that's the only part they got right in this. But for me, Tom Cruise has never looked as old and tired as he did in this movie.
You think so, eh?
I did. I felt like his thetan level was low and that he had not communicated enough with Xenu. Taken the soul of Leah Remini or anything. Like there's just nothing there really. Yeah. You know,
I was expecting her to be the mummy.
Which is very much like the mummy. Yeah. If they kind of like funneled that in there. Secondarily, Annabelle Wallis, who plays the female lead, is awful. She is so awful. Like her movements in her introduction in the scene in this movie was just, what are you doing? Especially when they unearth the tomb and she walks in with this weird like 1-2 cadence as she's walking in, and I'm like, who walks like this? What's going on? And I don't know. How did you feel? I feel like I'm stepping all over you on this one. How did you feel about this movie?
You're running all over me.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't like it. Like you said, there was some redeeming qualities of it, which you've already mentioned. Another thing that I really appreciated was the jump scares.
Yes. Something that after the movie I said, this is what you expected from Alien Covenant, but never got.
Yeah. Like actual, like good tense and then some jump scares that you know full well are coming.
I literally thought you were going to jump into the man's lap next to you.
That would have been yours.
No. You
on the other side.
You went away from me when you jumped the third time.
That's natural.
Yeah, I thought you were going to leap into an unsuspecting person's lap.
Well, that's what I do, but it's those are some redeeming qualities. But overall, the movie was really a mess.
Absolute mess.
Tom Cruise is usually really solid. This movie, I just didn't. I don't know. He looked like he was mailing that one in.
Yeah, and it's at 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. And apparently he gets very mad at the bad reviews right now, even though, he feels like he was tired and mailed it in. There's two other things I want to talk about before we kind of give our scores on it. One of them is Russell Crowe in this film, who nonsensically plays like the head of like a secret research society, that he's Dr. Henry Jekyll. And he's constantly kind of battling the Edward Hyde that is threatening to come out. And then when Edward Hyde finally does come out, he feels like a Cockney gangster out of like a Guy Ritchie Snatch movie. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on there. And the other thing I want to talk about is Jake Johnson, who is essentially the sidekick for this movie. Oh, that every time he appears on screen, I equate it to the Flintstones, where they showed the dinosaurs that are their appliance, and they look at the screen and they go, well, it's a living. And I felt like anytime he said something in the movie, it was like, well, it's a paycheck.
He was so cliche,
and it's just he has nothing to work with, right?
No, but I get it. Maybe his lines are bad, but I don't know. I didn't find him funny whatsoever. No. It sounded like he was really trying, like really hard.
And speaking of funny, this movie is constantly unintentionally funny.
Yes. You were laughing at parts that you weren't supposed to laugh at. No, it's a cheesy film.
I was laughing my ass off. And for anyone that watches this after seeing the movie, when you hear the line, Jenny, and then just like silence, no score, no sound, no Foley, nothing. It's just like this really awkward pause. And then he goes, run. Because of course he says run.
Cheesy.
Yes. 2 out of 5. That's what I'm sitting on.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2 out of 5 as well.
All right, so let's move into something probably more enjoyable for a broader audience here. Because
I don't mind shitting on movies, though.
No, neither do I. I never do. Honestly, I never do. I mean, we do it more often than not, unfortunately.
Lately.
It's just the way it goes.
Seemed that way.
But Megan Leavey is now hitting... Megan Leavey is the movie. It's now in theaters. This is a military movie at its base. Basically, it's a true story about a woman in the K9 division of the Marines.
Okay.
Who is responsible with her dog for a lot of saves in Iraq, and just a lot of good surveillance and all that kind of stuff in Iraq. And it's just basically one of those human and dog bond movies. But this actually comes from director Gabriella Cowperthwaite. who this is her narrative film debut. A lot of people would know her from Blackfish, the CNN documentary.
Great documentary.
Yeah, a really good documentary. And the really good thing is she has made the transition to narrative film really well. The film's trending really well. It's an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is generally the one that people go to before anything else.
Yeah.
The Metascore is a 62, which is generally okay. But it's the cast as well. I mean, you got former House of Cards cast member Kate Mara, Bradley Whitford from Get Out, Tom Felton, Common, Edie Falco, and it looks like one of those really good human stories and
a little heartwarming.
Exactly, yeah, and inspirational as well,
especially if you like dogs.
Exactly. So, and I mean, this movie doesn't feel as manipulative as the other dog movies, like Dog's Purpose earlier this year, or there was another military dog movie where he was a military dog and then he was adopted by a family. Max, that was the one. It's good. Not as, sap or just kind of aimed at the tear duct. You know what I mean? So Megan Leavey, really interesting stuff. I think I don't think it's going to garner a large audience, but I think it's a good alternative for people that don't want to go see Runny McKnife Hands
or Lady Lasso.
Yeah, or Lady Lasso. Yeah, exactly. This is my bet for the week. The next one. This is comes from director Trey Edward Schultz, who got a lot of attention last year for his film Krisha. This time he teams up with Joel Edgerton, a big favorite here at Flix Anonymous.
Yeah, good guy.
For the film It Comes at Night. And this is one of those horror thrillers that thrives in the darkness, thrives in keeping the audience in the dark and not showing its hand.
Yeah, it's a total mystery, it's a total suspenseful.
Mystery. And art house horror, which has really carved a nice little niche with me, especially with films like It Follows, The Babadook, stuff like that.
Oh, love The Babadook.
Exactly. So It Comes at Night, I think, is going to be one of those runaway horror hits that people are like, oh my God, have you seen this movie?
Yeah.
Like it has atmosphere, has everything that you want when it comes to these types of stories. And I mean, besides Edgerton, you have Christopher Abbott from James White, Carmen Ejogo from Alien Covenant, and Riley Keough from Mad Max Fury Road, also the granddaughter of Elvis Presley. It's Riley Keough. I mean, 90% is now certified on Rotten Tomatoes, 82 on Meta. That it's doing well.
Yeah.
When you see that 82 on Meta, you're just like, ooh, boy.
Where can people watch this? Is it playing at all theaters or is it kind of limited?
It's slightly limited. It's playing at 5 theaters here in the Lower Mainland. So even if you're out in the burbs, like Silver City, Coquitlam will be showing it. International Village downtown will be showing it. There are more places than a regular limited release that you will be able to see this film. So it's not going to be hard to find.
Okay, good.
And I mean, with that many theaters and with word of mouth, maybe we could see expand to all the theaters next week.
Yeah, it's just we haven't got a chance to watch this yet. Just the screener was at an awkward time for us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'd like to go see it. So
I mean, technically, the screening for it is right now. Like as we're recording, it's happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's happening.
Oh, that awkward. It's really that awkward.
It really sucks. But one we did get to check out was the new period mystery called My Cousin Rachel, starring Sam Claflin and Rachel Weisz. This is based on a book that an author that Hitchcock took a lot from, because this author wrote The Birds and Rebecca as well. Mm-hmm. And Roger Mitchell, who did the last big film he did was Hyde Park on Hudson with Bill Murray as Franklin Roosevelt.
Right.
But he also did Changing Lanes and a few other thrillers. This one is it's an interesting one. It's basically about a orphaned boy that was raised by his cousin.
Yeah.
And then that cousin kind of goes away to Italy, falls for a woman there, and then starts sending correspondence back to his cousin, his young ward, saying that this woman is basically manipulating him to death.
Yeah.
So now the cousin is dead. and this boy is now, inheriting the home. He's on the verge of his 25th birthday, and he's about to inherit the entire estate. And it looks like he's the tax man for the city, because there's for the village, because there's parts where he's sitting at a table basically collecting money from everybody. And I don't want to say he's really that likable of a character when you start out, because he is kind of like a product of his own upbringing.
Yeah, he never lived with any women.
No.
His older cousin raised him.
Yes.
And taught him the business, and they have this huge estate, and he finds out that his older cousin's dead, and although he's going to get this estate inherited to him, he's also got revenge on the mind. And he wants to know who this Rachel woman is, and why did she kill her his older cousin. And
it all kind of like his entire plan of revenge kind of goes out the window when he finally lays eyes on her, because she's played by Rachel Weisz. And I mean, beauty kind of like works its magic on him,
and then charm.
And then she also turns out to be incredibly charming, and kind of charms everybody around her at first. But then there's some slight manipulations. It's kind of all in the eye of the beholder. That's really what this movie is all about, because you're kind of on Sam Claflin's character's shoulders for the majority of the film. So you kind of formulate your own opinion just based on what he's thinking.
Yeah, just based on his perspective. Yeah.
And this movie is interesting because it dangles so many different threads in front of your face, and just kind of asking you to pull each one and kind of see where it goes. Because largely you feel that this movie is predictable.
You think so?
Yeah. And then I believe that's Roger Mitchell's goal. Is he wants you to feel like you know exactly what's going to happen, and then he wants to kind of pull the rug on you at a certain point. And even now, a few days out from seeing it, I still wonder what the actual reality of the situation was, because nothing is really what it seems.
No, all this is going to be is a discussion or an argument with your loved one in the car.
Yeah,
that's really what you're going to do when you leave this movie,
and not like to a deep degree like Blue Valentine or anything, but this one's gonna weigh on you a bit, because
we don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, so. I don't really want to give anything away, but I mean, your allegiance is going to lie one way or the other in the end. And you were mulling over. You told me yesterday what you were going to give this movie.
Well,
and I think I'm right alongside you in this one, because as the movie kind of resonated, I was like, I mean, it could have gone in the same old direction you think it is, but it doesn't.
Here's the thing. I love the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
There was some really great shots.
Even in some of the profile shots and the close-ups is really nice.
The close-ups are great. I love some of the shots of the cliffs and the grayish English sky. You really felt, same with the score. The film score was excellent too, and you really felt like you were in early 1800s England. But I also really like Rachel Weisz. She was excellent, and she brought an air of mystery. I mean, that the whole movie works because Rachel Weisz's performance is very, very solid, and she's been on a roll lately.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
She brings that to the film, that air of mystery and seduction, but she's also got this kind of steely image about her. Really, really like that, and I was really surprised with Sam Claflin. I thought he had great chemistry with Rachel Weisz. So yeah, the cast was really, really solid.
Oh, Holiday Granger, who people may know from The Finest Hours. She's so good in this movie. Yeah, I really like Holiday.
So I'm leaning on a 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with too.
4 out of 5.
Yeah,
I think it's a good movie if people want an alternative to Wonder Woman or whatever's out there.
And it's a 78 right now on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
so it's doing okay. It's doing okay. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. Limited. There's only one limited release this week. And that is a biopic of probably one of the most iconic leaders to be part of World War II, Winston Churchill, which Brian Cox plays Churchill in this movie. A fantastic character actor. He's been around for a long, long time. But that is where the goodness of this movie stops. Because he's very good in the role, and there's really nothing else about this movie that's very good.
Oh,
it's just it's very stuffy, and it's just meandering, and everybody else seems kind of miscast and everything, and it's just it's just an unfortunate mess in the end. So yeah, you probably want to skip Churchill or wait for Netflix or VOD for that one.
It's getting hammered though.
Yeah, oh for sure. It's not doing well. It's a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 46 on Metascore. I'm gonna vent for a second.
Okay.
As movie reviewers, we get the opportunity to get screeners sent to us. And I feel like the system needs to kind of get an overhaul because a lot of these studios are still using Flash Player, which is like a very outdated way. I mean, it constantly needs to buffer, and this is just on regular PC that these issues arise. But if you're like me and you have to watch these on an iMac or a MacBook Pro or anything like that, the Apple isn't compatible with Flash in the right way, and Flash keeps wanting an update, and those updates leave Macs vulnerable to viruses and outside interference.
Oh.
So studios, it's time to smarten the F up and like actually give us a credible platform to use. That's my rant for this episode, because it really stops us from being able to do what we do. So I was a little miffed this week that I had screeners that were basically unusable.
Hey, you're dialing it back, but you should push it forward because you get a chance to talk about a movie that we just talked about last week.
And this is something you brought to me, and I'm like, you know what? No, I probably won't do it. But then it was just too funny to pass up, really.
Yeah.
And it's not the movie. The movie's not funny at all, and it's not funny subject matter at all. But just last week, I was talking about the limited release of Land of Mine.
Yeah, finally.
And yeah, which took so long to get here. It's an Academy Award nominated film, lost to The Salesman, blah, blah, blah. But it got a week engagement at the Van City theaters, and now it's on DVD and VOD. Now you can watch it in the comfort of your own home. It's an excellent film, one of my favorites this year. True story in World War II of a Danish soldier, a Danish sergeant that has to oversee a group of Hitler youth de-arming bombs.
Yeah.
And it's an intense film. It is really intense film.
I can't wait to see it.
If you want to hear my full thoughts on it, you can go back to last week's episode and just check all that out, because I praised it for a good 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
So, Land of Mine is now available to watch in your own home, especially if you didn't get to check it out at Van City Theater.
Awesome. My pick is going to Netflix. So, comfort of your own home, couch lock. There's a movie called The Edge of 17, which is now on Netflix. And it's directed by Kelly Freeman Craig. Stars Haley Steinfeld, Woody Harrelson, Kyra Sedgwick, Haley Lou Richardson. Yes. And Blake Jenner is also in this. Now, this movie is a coming-of-age story about a girl who's in high school, and she's just, she's kind of geeky. She's kind of on the outside. But she, that's played by, I believe, Haley Steinfeld.
Yes.
She plays Nadine. And she has a friend who they hang out, and her name is Krista, and it's played by Haley Richardson. They're really good friends. And one thing about Nadine that she kind of has a hard time with is her older brother. Her older brother is like Mr. Perfect, Mr. Athlete, good-looking guy, popular in school, while she's just kind of lame. And one day she finds out that her perfect brother is now dating her best friend Krista. And things just kind of go downhill from there. And this movie is sort of how she deals with that new relationship, how she deals with being an outsider, and how she kind of finds redemption through a couple of new friends. One with the teacher, played by Woody Harrelson. And oh my God, the best part of this movie is some of the interaction that the teacher and Nadine have throughout the movie. Woody Harrelson's excellent in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
And then she also meets another friend, and she realizes that things aren't as terrible as she thought they were. And like I said, it's a coming-of-age story, but it's very funny. It's not your typical teeny bopper film. This was one of my favorite movies last year. I know you really dug it.
I was huge on it.
Yeah, and like I said, Woody Harrelson's one of the biggest reasons to watch this movie. I thought he was excellent. So, Edge of 17 on Netflix.
And locally shot, too.
Oh, right. It is.
It's all locally shot. Hayden Zetto comes in and almost entirely steals this movie.
Yes, he's the friend.
Yeah,
right?
He plays Irwin,
right?
Who has a thing for Nadine. But Nadine is so wrapped up in her own problems because, of course, everything that happens in this movie is in her mind happening directly to her in according to ruin her life and make her want to end it that much more quickly.
Yes.
And just the interactions between Nadine, played beautifully by Haley Steinfeld, and Darian, who is Blake Jenner from Everybody Wants Some, are so kind of like reality driven. But this, what I equate Edge of 17 to, I feel like it's the new Juno. Like it has that kind of cadence in the line delivery.
100%.
Yeah, and but it doesn't feel like it's pandering on any sort of level, much like Juno. Juno did not feel like that as well.
Yeah.
So I really dig this one. Brian at VVS, a good friend of ours, sent me a copy when it came on Blu-ray, and I was like, this is like a Christmas present. I love it. So yeah, Edge of 17, definitely worth it. Worth watching on Netflix and even worth buying. Totally. Yeah, it's got rewatch value to it for sure. Alrighty, so this is the fun part of the podcast where we get to kind of dig in our secret stash and roll one up and sit back and relax and give you what you should watch this weekend if you just want to chill out and get some couch lock going on. And mine's hitting Netflix, and I can't believe the whole catalog of these guys isn't on Netflix yet, as Monty Python's The Meaning of Life is now on Netflix. This is probably one of their films that gets, like, I'm not gonna say the least attention, but out of all of the films, it's probably not the one mentioned as much, because everyone likes to talk about Holy Grail, everyone likes to talk about Life of Brian.
Yep.
But The Meaning of Life was actually the first Monty Python film I ever saw. I'd seen the TV show on PBS lots when I was a kid and everything, but this was the first full-length film, and changed everything for me. Like this was my first foray into sketch comedy, because Meaning of Life doesn't follow a linear plot at all. It's just a bunch
of sketches,
of different sketches, which is bookended by Terry Gilliam's kind of first solo project stuff, which is the Pirates of the Insurance Crimson Penzance or something, where they hijack the building and they just start driving around. This movie is just crazy. It's like, I think everybody knows that every sperm is sacred, and look on the bright side of life. Like, there's just so many.
Some great sketches. I don't. Did they
Bright
do
Side of Life?
No, that's Life of Brian. But did they do the Dead Parrot in this one?
No. That's
from their show, right?
That's from their show, and I believe they redid it and now for something completely different.
Oh, right. Yes.
But how much can I really go on about Monty Python? They are the originators of comedic troupes. Like they are kind of like the legends at the top of the pile.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen The Meaning of Life, or it's been a while, Netflix is now giving you a chance to check it out.
And you can watch their entire catalog on Crave, actually.
Yes, you can, including the television show.
Including the documentary.
And the documentary, which is a 6-part thing called Almost the Truth, The Lawyer's Cut. Yeah, you can watch that one as well. It's very cool.
Yeah, Monty Python. Great. Love that.
It's interesting that I finally could bring Monty Python as a stoner pick.
Well, I mean, they're legendary stoner picks.
Exactly.
So I was thinking about what I was going to bring for stoner picks, and I saw that Beauty and the Beast is available on video on demand.
Yes.
I figured
the revamp.
I figured if you're going to watch it, you might as well get super stoned.
See if that helps.
Yeah. It's directed by Bill Condon. Stars Emma Watson, Dan Stevens, Luke Evans, Josh Gad, Kevin Kline, Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, Emma Thompson, Ian McClellan. It stars everybody you've ever heard of, really. And the story's about watch the 1991 cartoon.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
because this movie is pretty much an exact retelling of the cartoon. Yes. There's some scenes that are almost shot for shot. Very, very popular film this year. People love it, just like they love the Wonder Woman.
Over $1 billion film now. I think it's at $1.5 billion.
Because Disney needs the money,
right?
And Disney just keeps rocking these live action adaptations. They're taking their animated films and making them new again. This one is one of their weaker ones, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy it as much as other people did, but I wouldn't be doing you a service unless I, couldn't tell, unless I told you that it was now available to rent, like most people know by now. So it's my stoner pick because I'm probably going to have to watch it countless times. And I'm just going to have to dip over to the garage, have a few puffs, and be like, okay, let's watch Josh Gad be somewhat gay, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a little bit of...
Which I didn't mind. It didn't take away from it too much.
It's an embellishment to the character of LeFou. That's just...
It is.
It's
not over the top, really.
No, the animated film never dug into any kind of intricacies of characters, so yeah.
Were you a fan of the Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, I was. It's also one of the first ones I can remember any kind of computer graphic effects in as well, especially with the Beauty and the Beast dance scene.
There was some nice shots for sure.
There were. And they did some nice recreations in this movie, but it just, we've talked about this one before, it just doesn't have that it factor.
I was expecting it to stand out more from the original animated version, like Cinderella did. Kind of the same kind of story, but they kind of took some liberties, did their own thing. I would wish that Beauty and the Beast was a standalone film, but hey, people loved it. They liked the singing and the dancing, like I said.
And I bet that Blu-ray is just filled with stuff.
I bet the extras are great.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
All right, so that brings us to a close of our 29th episode of Flix Anonymous here as an original CKNW podcast on cknw.com, which we're very grateful for. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Flix Anonymous or on Twitter at FlixAnon. I am at the Stevel Dead.
I am at Trev Dewick on the Twitter.
And we've got 6 movies hitting theaters next week. A bunch to talk about next week. Pixar is bringing out a threequel to one of their films. There is a Tupac biopic that's finally getting released. I think this has been in the works for a while now that we heard there's going to be a Tupac movie. We also get like a ladies version of The Hangover.
Oh, yeah.
Which looks interesting. Vancouver's own Jacob Tremblay is in a new movie, as is Salma Hayek. Ooh, yes. I love Salma Hayek. Yes.
I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating cookies.
She's gorgeous, and she just keeps getting better with age. She's just fantastic. And there's really good buzz behind her movie as well as Lars von Trier's... his protege, Thomas Vinterberg, has a brand new film called The Commune. That's going to be playing Van City Theater next week, and we'll have a look at that as well. Thank you, everybody, for checking out this episode of Flix Anonymous, and we'll catch you next week.
Hey, you crazy cinephiles. Thanks for listening to Flix Anonymous. Feel free to send us nasty and abusive social media messages on Twitter at FlixAnon. If you need more characters to tell us how much we suck, you can find Flix Anonymous on Facebook.